Alright, so greetings from Pennsylvania once again. As I'm filming this, you might be able to hear the thunderstorm, or the thunder from the thunderstorm. Yeah, right there, a little bit. But yeah, we are here at Buchanan's Birthplace State Park. I'm on my way home from my Western PA trip. Just got done filming earlier this morning at Ohiopyle State Park. Said goodbye to that awesome, beautiful state park out there. And this is kind of halfway home, so I thought I'd just kind of take a little detour, just to take a little break from a long drive home. So yeah, I hope you can hear that. Just kind of missed it. Alright. There's still some rain falling, well, some water falling from the trees here. Alright, but before I start filming a little bit, I am going to take a little break here. Have a little bit of late lunch, I think, and then I'll catch up with you a little bit later. Alright, let me show you on the map where we are. We are currently right here at Buchanan's Birthplace State Park. Of course, I was just over here for a couple days in Ohiopyle State Park. Because we had filmed a lot of things coming down through the Laurel Highlands. And of course, we came down Route 40. It's on through Maryland for a while here on 68, 70, and then we scooched on up to Buchanan's Birthplace. And then from here we'll head home. Also, I'm placing channel sticker number 17 out here somewhere. Just gotta find a spot. I have an idea where I'm gonna put it though. Yeah, beautiful little spot to take a break. Down here by the stream. And Naomi's gonna take a little break too. So yes, this is the birthplace of James Buchanan, the only president of the United States that was born in Pennsylvania. Okay, he was president number 15, just before Abraham Lincoln. We'll talk a little bit more about that. He tends to be one of the less popular presidents, which is a little bit unfair, I think. But maybe we'll get into that later. Yeah, but this is not my first time here. I was here last summer. I did film here last summer, but I ended up not uploading that video. Wasn't really happy with it. Plus, last summer things in this country were pretty tense, and due to some of the stuff I talk about in this video, I didn't really feel like it was a good idea to upload that video at the time. So it is what it is. But anyway, we're back. It is a beautiful little spot. It's just a small state park, but they have a few like pavilions and places that have picnics and stuff. Nice little spot. Kind of out here in the middle of nowhere. And like I said, I do also channel sticker number 17 and I'm gonna place out here somewhere. I did place number 16 out in Ohiopyle State Park, but we'll place one out here too. Okay, so here's a little bit about him. Of course, he retired from public life in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at a place called Wheatland. I've driven past there a number of times. I should probably film there sometime. But yeah, he was born in April 23rd, 1791, Scotch-Irish family. Of course, he had a long political history here. Pennsylvania Assemblyman, U.S. Representative, Foreign Minister to Russia, U.S. Senator, Secretary of State under James Polk, Foreign Minister to Great Britain, and then finally President of the United States. So I'm not going to read all of this, but you can obviously pause the video. Began his political career at 23. He never lost an election in which he ran. Governed under a simple principle: I acknowledge no law, no master but the law. Yeah, and here's where the trouble came for him. When President Buchanan took office, the United States was rapidly splitting over you-know-what. He kept the Union together through compromise, but the abolitionists in the North and the secessionists in the South did not want compromise. So he was kind of almost in an impossible situation. He had a special message to Congress in 1861. Buchanan explained his policy. Northern newspapers called him weak. Pro-Southern papers called it almost treasonable. Yeah, he couldn't make anybody happy. Of course, you can read the rest of that. And then just up past those information boards is the little stone pyramid monument to him. I think it's up here is where the cabin was that he was born in. A little out of the way place. Actually, I think like a cool looking spring house or something up that way. We got a few more information boards up here too. Yeah, so as I said earlier, Buchanan gets kind of a bad rap in history. If you study or if you look up who the most popular presidents ever were, one of them will be Abraham Lincoln, because of things that happened. You know, the North won the war, and then Lincoln was assassinated, and that made him a martyr. He became one of the most popular presidents ever. And being the president before, being the 15th president before one of the most popular presidents, the 16th, Abraham Lincoln, that puts a shadow on your career. And it was a tough time, like the board said. Neither, he held the Union together, the country together, by trying to create compromise with both sides, just trying to make it work. But as the board said, at that point, neither side really wanted compromise anymore. So he was kind of in an impossible situation. He was not looking for war. He tried to avoid it. And that's one thing to commend on his presidency. By the end of his presidency, I think South Carolina had seceded, but none of the other states had. Maybe at the very end some more did. I forget the exact timing of that. But war had not started by the end of his presidency. War only started when Lincoln became president and called for, like 70,000 troops to invade the South. That's when the other states, like Virginia, decided to secede. So it was an extremely difficult time in which to be president. It's one of those things where no matter what you do, somebody's going to be mad at you. And even Lincoln, Lincoln was not, when he got elected, Lincoln was not a popular president either in his time. If you actually study history, he was not, nowadays, like I said, he's super popular, Abraham Lincoln, but back in his time, he didn't have that popularity either. It was just a difficult time to be president or leader at any time during those kinds of times in a country's history. It's just not easy to be the leader, because it's just, you're trying to keep things together, and it's difficult. Here's another information board. I guess that's his actual cabin. The Buchanan cabin is on the campus of Mercersburg Academy, so it's not even here anymore. They must have disassembled it and moved it. Didn't realize that, but I think it used to be right there. Here's what he has to say about his place. It was called Stoney Batter. It is a rugged but romantic spot in the mountain stream under the scenery captivating. I have warm attachments for it. Yeah, I'm just walking around. Looking. We were down by the stream earlier. It is a beautiful spot. And what do we have back here? It's like a little spring house. There's like a little opening right there. Last time I was here, I shined a flashlight in there. There's nothing in there, just mud. That's kind of interesting. But this looks like a good spot to place a channel sticker somewhere. I won't dump it in there. We'll never get it out. All right, I'll get back to you on that. So right there's our interesting little spring. Come over here, there's some rocks. This rock right here, if you lift it up, that's where the channel sticker will be. And of course, we are just over from where that pyramid is. And another major thing that hurt his reputation was that he did tend to be a bit more pro-South in his politics at the time. And since the North won the war, whoever wins the war writes the history of the war. So since his tendencies tend to be a little bit more pro-South, the North wrote the history, so yeah, he gets to be vilified a little bit, I guess you could say. But history is taking a second look at James Buchanan. I've read some articles about him that saying that he was not such the bad guy that past history has made him out to be. And I would tend to agree with that. And I have to admit, I am a little bit biased because he is the only president born in Pennsylvania. So yes, there's a little bit of bias there in my opinion. And as I was researching him, I found there was something else that I kind of admired about him. Of course, he made a promise in his first election, was that 1856 or so, that he was only going to run for one term, and he did. He did not run in the 1860 election, the one that Abraham Lincoln won. But the thing is, even after the election occurs, you're still in office for 3 months. So whether or not, so he wasn't, at the end of 3 months, he wasn't going to be president anymore. He could have just been like, oh well, not my problem anymore. Just, I'll just let the new guys take care of it. I'm out of here, or whatever. But he didn't. I think they call that like a lame duck president sometimes. I think it's also used for the end of their second term sometimes. But he chose not to, even though his term was over and the election results were determined. he still tried to keep things together. He had a number of meetings with the governors of the states, the North and the South, just trying to, even to the very end, he kept trying to keep things together. But of course, in the end, you know, history said otherwise. But I think it was one of those things where war was probably inevitable, so no matter what he did, it was probably going to happen anyway. You know, it was just waiting for that spark. You know, everything else was there, just need that spark. And he was, you know, he kept that spark from happening, but in the end it happened anyway. You know, it's, like I said, it's almost an impossible situation that he was in, you know, trying to prevent what was going to happen from happening. So, you know, and that can happen in our own lives too. Not to get all philosophical here on you, but there's times in life where I've been in situations where people wanted things to happen and it just couldn't happen. And in the end, no one's happy with what you did. You know, it's just, sometimes you find yourself in an impossible situation. And, you know, it is what it is sometimes. All right, let's quit yapping and let's go take a look at his monument up here. It is an interesting choice for monument, a pyramid. A little bit more information about him. You want to read that? I'm not going to read it all for you. It talks a little bit about his family and stuff. Oh, Buchanan entered the White House as a bachelor, having experienced heartbreak as a young man when his fiancée tragically died. Okay. Wow. I didn't know that. Interesting little feature. Yes, a quaint little spot back here. Wouldn't mind living back here. Pretty quiet. Yeah, there's mountains on either side, and when that thunder was going off earlier, it kind of echoes off the mountains. It's pretty interesting. And keep in mind too that there's always two sides to the story when you're looking at history or looking at, you know, people in your own life. As the saying goes, you're gonna be you're the bad guy in someone's story. You're always the bad guy in someone's story, and that's the truth. And I can say that personally for myself. I know I've had some pretty awful stuff said about me by certain folks, and you know, with the intentions of making me look pretty bad. But you know, you think about that too. You know, when you hear I know I'm getting philosophical, but when you hear garbage or bad things said about someone, before you automatically believe what people are saying about that person, maybe you ought to check to see if there's another side to the story. To see, you know, if those people that are saying those bad things have a certain motive in mind or a certain bias. You know, that would help a lot of things in life if people would just do that sometimes, just to check the other side of the story before you just automatically judge someone's character or reputation based on the words of just one person. All right, I'll quit preaching at you. Yeah, so once again, just a quaint little spot up here. Of course, up there was the pyramid. There's that little spring house with the channel sticker. They do have some picnic tables. Farther down that way, there are some pavilions. You can come here. This stream down here is nice. Alright, so I'm going to hit the road here again. I got about another 2 hours to go till I get home, but just a nice little place to stop. I know some people might get a little mad at me for some of the words I used in this video. But to be honest, like I said, I am a little bit biased towards him. He is the only president from Pennsylvania. But I believe that what I said is true. There's two sides to the story. And sometimes only one side of the story gets promoted. And life can get difficult sometimes, and you will find yourself in impossible situations where no matter what you do, people will be upset with you. Alright, I feel like that's what happened to Buchanan. He was kind of in an impossible situation. He tried to make it work, but it was just, yeah, it was not going to happen. Alright, as always, thanks for coming along. I'm going to go home. I'll see you around.